We appreciate your support and your interest in the work of sustainable harvest. So thank you for taking time. Thank you for um, dialing in, and thank you, Tanya, for arranging this. Excited to hear from Jennifer and Flo. They are the spotlights of the evening. So I will make this brief, but my name is Kathleen Roberton, and I'm the Interim Executive Director of Sustainable Harvest International. I have been serving in this role since September. Prior to that, I served on the board for 9 years. So I've had the great privilege of seeing the programs in action, Panama, Belize, and Honduras. It's beautiful work. So I just want to give a quick overview. Sustainable Harvest was built on the idea that rural poverty and environmental devastation are inextricably linked. And the solutions are also linked. So it's exciting for us to share a little bit about our 26 plus history working with farming families in Central America. Who are adopting regenerative agriculture and practices that are improving their livelihoods and transforming landscapes while addressing, urgent needs of the globe, climate change being a headliner there. So without further ado, I just want to give a couple numbers to kind of share with you the work of Sustainable Harvest over the last 26 years. So we've worked with over 3,850 farming families in Central America. Those families have regenerated over 30,000 acres of land and planted over 4 million trees. So it's, just let those numbers settle in for a second. And then I will just hand it over to Flo. Florence Reed is our founder. She got her start in Panama as a Peace Corps volunteer and has since, and currently holds the role of Director of Strategic Growth. She's our creative and networking visionary. She is a firm believer in our farming families in transforming and shifting our planet today. So let's hear a little bit from Flo, and then we will hear from Jennifer following that. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Tanya, and thanks, everyone. It's wonderful to see some of my favorite faces here, and also a number of people that I may not have had the pleasure of meeting yet. So thanks very much, everyone, for joining us. I am going to focus my brief presentation on what is the primary focus of my work with SHI now, which is our scaling initiative. And I'll just do a share screen here. And there we go. Okay, is that working all right? I'm assuming that okay, I'm seeing a thumbs up. Great. All right. So for me, the big motivation to keep giving my all to sustainable harvest these days is the tremendous role that I think we can play in helping reverse the terrible damage being done to our climate and avert the worst of the climate crisis that we're headed towards. We've estimated that if the world's 500 million smallholder farmers could make the sort of transitions that farmers in the Sustainable Harvest Program have made and are making, that they could sequester 8 gigatons of carbon per year, which is 53% of the goal that the United Nations has set for net greenhouse gas reductions. So with that in mind, Sustainable Harvest is looking at how can we as a small organization leverage our 26 years of experience and help lead the way for that paradigm shift that I truly believe we need in our food system if we're going to keep this planet livable for humanity. So we've set our own big audacious goal, which you may have heard about, our million farm transformation that would involve the planting of 1 billion trees, sequestering 16 million tons of carbon, regenerating 8 million acres, and achieving food security for 5 million people. And we've taken a three-pronged approach with our plan for this scaling initiative. And the first piece of that is expanding our core program and the direct work that we do with farmers. So we've made progress in that regard this past year. Jennifer may get into some more details, but I'd just like to say how happy I am to know that we have added some new field trainers to our programs this past year. Those of you familiar with SHI's work, which I think is probably most of you on this Zoom, know that the field trainers, the extension agents, are the heart of SHI's work. And so here in this case, we have Diomedes, who has been with SHI for probably close to 15 years now, and is able to act as a mentor to new trainers such as Cesar here when they're coming into the program. As I say, Diomedes has many years' experience working with us, and one of the farmers that he worked with, Demetrio, is seen in this picture here back when they were first beginning to work together, what would have been nearly 15 years ago now. So when Diomedes was new to the program. And so I'm mostly focusing on the big picture, but do want to take one moment to come back to the farm level. And Dimitri is a farmer I've spoken of before. He's one of my favorite SHI graduates. He grew up doing slash and burn farming, but then over the course of the 5 years he was in the SHI program, he was able to improve the soil health, diversify his farm, and transition it from one that was not producing enough to feed his family to one that was producing more than enough to feed his family. And some of us were there when he graduated. I saw Ivor. I think Ivor was there that day, and maybe Kat, you were there. And since then, he has continued, and this is what's most exciting to me, is to see that the farmers, after they graduate from our program, they continue to build on what they accomplished during those 4 or 5 years that they're in the SHI program. And so Kate and I visited Demetrio this past February, 10 years after he had graduated from the SHI program. And it was just wonderful to see that those terraced garden beds were still in place. They were producing even more than on the day he graduated from the program. He was growing strawberries, which I didn't think could grow in this part of Panama. I thought it only grew at the highest elevations and the tallest mountains, but he was growing them, which I thought was just amazing. He had expanded his rice paddies, his piscicultura, the fish together with the rice, was continuing to protect the trees he had planted and plant more trees. And I think that was my favorite part, was feeling like how so much of the farm that had been degraded land when he started now felt like a healthy forest ecosystem, complete with a fish pond in the middle, with fruit trees, spice trees, nut trees, and growing in the shade was coffee. And then the coffee is one of the items that he's able to harvest to add income for his family, as well as what they're growing to feed themselves and to keep themselves healthy. And then they're using their solar dryer still as well to dry the coffee beans as well as other crops that they're growing. And then walking away, it was just wonderful to look back and see this beautiful, healthy ecosystem that's sustaining Demetrio's family, but also the healthy planet for the rest of us. In addition to expanding our direct work with farmers, we've also been working on our second pillar, which is innovations, looking to see if we can get the same results at a lower cost. And we have been making progress in that regard, finding that going from a 5-year to a 4-year model, we can get the same results and bring the cost down for the full program from 10,000 to 8,000. Now we've also been working with a farmer mentor pilot, which looks like it will also get the results that we want, in which case that will cut the cost in half again. And then moving forward, we're starting to make plans to test out some business ideas that would offset the cost of the training, and maybe bringing some more technology in to lower the cost, all to make our program more scalable. In terms of the business piece, we've been working with some consultants in Panama. They've sent us a 42-page market study, and we have a wonderful task force of board members and other volunteers now assessing this, looking to move it towards the business plan development stage next, with the hope that it will allow the farmers in SHI's program and those that graduate from the program to earn more money from their farms, and also to generate some income for SHI to help offset the cost of the training that we provide. So that is the innovation pillar. And then the last pillar, and the most important, excuse me for putting a bunch of numbers up on the screen, but this is just to give a sense of why we believe that our million farm transformation is possible. This is not a definite plan. This is just to get a sense of what might it look like to reach that number. And what we've been able to see is that by working with 5 countries and looking to get the equivalent of anywhere from 0.5% to at most 8% of what those countries currently spend on agriculture redirected to programs like SHI's, that would get us to that million farm goal that we've set. And so with that in mind, we are pursuing partnerships with governments, with businesses, with other organizations. And we've had some successes in that regard as well. Again, I think Jennifer may talk some more about some of these, but we've had a successful pilot in Honduras working with the Honduran government's Institute for Professional Development. And now, building off that, we've developed a plan for what we're calling the Honduras Tree Program, which would reach 1,600 smallholder farms in Honduras, SHI partnering with the Honduran government's Institute for Professional Development. And we're really happy that that was deemed worthy of joining the Clinton Global Initiative. So it was announced at their meeting in September. And we're hopeful that that will bring in the additional resources to build out the plans that we have for Honduras, and then beyond to the regional level. And I've just got a little video here of that announcement that I would love to share. Let's see.
And the health of our planet. Sustainable Harvest International is committing to restore more than 12,000 acres of degraded land and increase crop production to provide food security and dignified livelihoods for 8,000 people in Honduras. You can clap for that. Please clap.
That's Padma Lakshmi from Top Chef, by the way.
Smallholder farmers in agroecology and business practices will support the environment and accelerate economic growth.
So I think that was a big step for SHI, and one that we anticipate is going to bring more support for our work, as well as other partnerships that are being developed with NGOs and government agencies in Belize and in Panama, and other new partners. The Yale Alumni Association has a program called the Yale Alumni Service Corps that takes groups of volunteers, Yale alumni and their family, to do volunteer work. And this summer, they'll be taking a group of 25 to 50 volunteers to work with SHI's program in Panama. So again, a wonderful opportunity to show off the great work that our staff are doing in Panama, which is representative of the wonderful work that they're doing in all 3 of the countries. So I suspect I've used up my allotted time, but that is a little snapshot of some of the progress that we've seen this past year with SHI's scaling initiative. We are still working to lay some of the groundwork to really be able to take this scaling initiative to the next level. So we welcome all of you who are supporting our work. We are very grateful for that. And any opportunities that will help us to bring in the additional resources we need to implement that Honduras tree program, to do some more of the capacity building to get us ready to scale up to those really big numbers will be very much welcome. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us, and thank you for all that you do to support Sustainable Harvest's work. And I don't know if somebody else is stepping in or if Jennifer's going to step right up now. Let me stop my sharing.
I'll just quickly say thank you, Flo. Quick applause for Flo. That was great. The video was so nice. And if you didn't catch what, by the way, I'm calling her Flo because her name is Florence, but she goes by Flo. No one caught that, or if no one knew that. But if you didn't catch that, that person was a famous person, a TV host on a really popular show. So that's really exciting. There's a lot of things that are happening at SHI. I think that's why you all are here. So that was a great overview. And now Jennifer is going to get into the details of it as someone who is working directly with our programs. Sometimes our headquarters team, just because we're based on not in Central America where our programs are, we really go through Jennifer, and Jennifer is supervising a lot of people right now. So Jennifer, thank you for showing all these people what you're doing. And yeah, let's get into it.
Thank you, Tanya. And let me just try sharing my screen, and let me know if you can see the screen as well. Sorry, let me organize this stuff here.
We can see it, yeah.
Yep, now it's okay. Okay. So, thank you and welcome everyone. Bienvenidos también a los colegas de habla español. Thank you for joining us, and let me start just sharing our mission. And as you may know, Sustainable Harvest International mission is to build together a just and sustainable world by using a transformative approach and also implementing transformative projects and interventions that taking care of the environment. So our model is based on 5 core pillars that intend to transform the agri-food system while taking care of the environment as well. And I would like to start just referring to a recent report that was prepared and organized by the World Food Organization a couple of months ago, which is called The Future of Food and Agriculture. From this report, there is a global call on working on regenerative agriculture, but still without really showing that regenerative agriculture and sustainable agriculture could be a business case for farmers, no? So I would like to start this presentation asking us and asking ourselves, what is the role that we are playing, you know, to address the global challenges in the agri-food system and with the environment? And just let me express a couple of general comments about that. First of all, this report and many other organizations participating in the report have set 4 different scenarios. One scenario, which is the more traditional, business as usual. I want to go into details, but it's just, you know, working in the way we are working probably now, no? It's a disconnection, different organizations trying to address, but without really a collective effort. Then there is a second scenario that is talking more about the importance, the relevance of having public policies to address, you know, and to close the gaps that are present within the agri-food system, and especially to face climate change. And there are a couple of 2 scenarios in which I personally see Sustainable Harvest, as many other organizations working with farmers, are contributing to. And one of them is all our interventions are addressing, you know, to different areas. It's not only about the environment, but it's an holistic model that is trying to improve the nutrition for better life for communities and people, and also improve the way we are producing our food and conserving the environment. So this is the stage, this is our assumption that we are, of course, contributing to that particular, within that particular area. So our solution, I would say that we have developed and we have a test and model with 5 transformational impact areas. And the last year, we also pay more attention to the connection between those transformational areas that I will explain a little bit more later, and the business development just to support farmers in creating and developing their own business and economic opportunities. These 2 areas multiply with the social capital through the transformational training we provide, resulted in a model that is embracing a sustainable, transformational, resilient, and a green future for people and the planet. So I'm going to explain what are the main transformational areas and giving some examples, but also I would like to say we have in the webinar part of the regional staff, so Walter and Karen, so welcome also to provide any comment or any additional feedback. So as Kathleen mentioned, this year we are working with 613 families across the Central American region, which imply more than 3,000 households, around the region. And one of the first strategy, and let me move this, I'm not sure if you are seeing the camera, but one of the strategy is strengthening the food system through agroecology, sustainable agricultural practices, and good production. What we do is we train, of course, families in sustainable agriculture. And over the last year, we see families have adopted agroecological practices, mainly practices related to the implementation of light barriers, with handling, crop rotation, the production of organic fertilizer, which is applicable to their farms for their own production. And we also see a good example of families replicating with other families under the promoter model. But also she is working under the farmer field schools to multiply the impact. What we do is, of course, using the training as a strategy, as a tool to train farmers that then, because the result they see at the farm level, they multiply. So they really do a multiplier effect working with other families. Our second strategy is related to diversification of crops and the production and access of healthy fresh food. Here you see Carla Jaén. Carla Jaén is a participant daughter in San Jose, Panama. It's a beautiful picture because, in fact, it shows how young people are also interested, in exploring how agriculture, works, what happens, from the food to your table, how the food is being produced. So in this particular strategy, we are working with families and teaching families, but also we are learning from families how to produce healthy food. Mainly our strategy here is to implement vegetable gardens, and we work together not only with farmers, but also we have established the partnership with local schools. This year we partnered with 9 new schools working on those activities. And we are proud that we see families like this family in San Jose that are, implementing and diversifying their food with at least 4, 5, or even more than 5 new crops a year. And we also got from our internal, analysis and evaluation that people participate and farmers that are participating, into our programs, they are producing using the agroecological practices, but also they are consuming what they produce. At least 50% this year, are families that are using what they produce in their diets. So again, we positively see that the impacts, around the region. And a theater strategy, part of a strategy which is part of this transformational and holistic model, is our capacity building and technology. And here you see some different pictures, mainly from Honduras, that are a clear example on how we are also working not only with farmers, but also with women. We are also working with schools. We are also working with other NGOs. So trainings are related to family needs, to farmer needs, for instance, healthy food, nutrition, but also environmental campaigns, and also business training, especially for those farmers that have some ideas that are linked to the agricultural and agroecological processes. A specific example I would like to mention is our project Promoter for Change in Honduras, which is working with 22 promoters and reaching more than 120 families in the implementation of agroecological practices, the most needed plots. But the most important is all those families, have learned how they can produce their own fertilizers. So they teach other farmers. They really show solidarity and cooperation, and they are a good example. Those farmers and promoters have been formally certified by local organizations. We established a partnership with Info, which is the official technical training institute in Honduras. And all the farmers you see here are farmers from the field, are rural farmers that were training in a process of more than 9 months, but also a process that include the application, of the techniques they learn. And they receive a certification until the program ends, and they continue the application because they were certified as agroecological promoter. And one commitment, is they can also share their knowledge with other families. We are really proud of that model. And this model is now, expanding in Belize, and hopefully we can also use this model in Panama in the coming year. Another example is coming through our program in Belize. In Belize, we are under the implementation of the Scaling Positive Agriculture project. And this project is quite interesting because it's been implemented together with private sector, CIRDI, which is a company in the sugarcane sector, and also with local schools and, of course, families and communities. Here you see that our training model is really a core piece to transform families and people's lives. So we really empower farmers and families, and then they are able to replicate those training and knowledge. And well, in regarding to technological innovations, I just want to mention a couple of examples. I think that you can read more in our annual report from the last year and the next report that is being prepared by Tanya and the team. But here you see a couple of examples of low-cost technologies. And for us, it's important to mention that all the inputs, and raw materials are local materials that comes from families. So you see irrigation system low cost because the origin of the material, of the raw material. And then on your, I would say, on your, I'm not sure if it's the left or the right side, but then you see Digna Mesa. Mr. Digna Mesa is a participant from the community at Chaparral in Honduras. And what happened this year is we also starting a collaboration with a local entity to design and test eco filters. And the impact is really, powerful, because then you see families like Digna Mesa having access to water, filtering the water, and using the water for local consumption and the preparation of food. It's really something that is changing people's life. And well, we have another good example. she has been recognized this year by the Clean Cooking Alliance as one of the reference working on clean technologies, especially the use of improved stoves, ecological stove. This is an example of a design called the MAC. This design was established by our personal staff in Panama. And here you see Mr. Reynaldo from Piedras Gordas community working in this and using this eco stove in the preparation of the local food for the students that attend at the school in Piedras Gordas. So the final impact is students and children are having access to food, so they are able to use the eco stove, and also, well, the model is being multiplied in other schools as well. And well, we have also worked a lot, and this is really an interest piece of our work. Again, it's part of our core model. We have worked on restoring the environment and the ecosystem. And let me tell a little bit more about Maria Nieves, the lady you see in this picture, because Maria de las Nieves Reyes, you know, is a participant farmer that already established her forestry nursery in Cerro Corral, a rural community in Panama. And she is selling, you know, the trees. She is planting, but at the same time, she's selling the tree. She is using this model, you know, as a business. And is a good example of how women are also taking decisions on what they want to do in terms of business ideas, and also the contribution of women to taking care of the environment. So this year, in terms of this particular strategy, she worked in planting more than 173,000 trees. And I would like to mention that that has been possible because we work together in partnership with communitarian leaders and also local government bodies, some local water committees that are working at a community level, and other NGOs. We have a good example of partnership following this ITI in Panama. We have been working closely with one private sector entity, Funda Natura, which is a corporate social responsibility entity and partner for us in educational campaigns, and also restoring protected areas in Panama. So I guess that we have other examples, but I would like to mention that our model is really addressing what farmers want to see at their farm. So we are following farmers and what their dreams are. Here you see an example of, good example of a set of farming planning with Marixa Cunil. Marixa is a farmer in a community in Belize. And Marixa, you know, what is showing here in this picture is how, you know, she visualized, you know, her farm. What are the trees they want, she wants to produce, she wants to plant, she wants to have. And then Marisa has been also been training on agroforestry diversification. And now she's a leader. She's a leader that is taking the process and training other families as well. So we are really proud to see more women participating in our programs and projects and interventions as well. And well, I would like also to mention that Sustainable Harvest, this particular fiscal year, reforested more than 700 acres. And the reforestation was done using native species that preserve, you know, biodiversity. It's not only about planting coffee, it's also, you know, having some fruit trees and also timber and not timber, you know, forests like mahogany, pine, and other very locally species. So we are also working with reforestation, authorities. For instance, in Honduras, we're working with ICF, which is the forestry institution in the country. And then I would like to mention our 5 pillar, which is related to business development. And for this particular area, it is quite new for Chi, although it is integrated in our model. This year, we advance in training farmers on business development and how they can also project their business ideas. And we work with farmers in Honduras. This is an example, a beautiful photo from Linda Carranza. And Linda start, from zero, start just having an idea. And now you see their products have a marketing name. She's processing data fruits, in a data right way. And also she's selling their products in local markets. So we expect to continue working more on the empowerment, but also working together with local entities and other partnership to support the business development. Here you have a picture of what happened this year, and it was a graduation after a business training process in which participated all our staff in Honduras, but also more than 10 farmers in Honduras. And at least 2 of them were selected by Emprende Global, a local NGO, to receive a seed capital grant to start their business idea. And finally, but not least, I want to say that this year we also added additional capacities to our staff. We hire at regional levels 2 staff. Walter Quintana, who is also present in this webinar, and Karen Madrigal as regional impact coordinators, and Karen as a financial, officer. And also at the local level, we added 3 new staff, 2 in Belize and 1 in Honduras. And all our staff is participating in a process to be more specialized on project management using PMD Pro methodology. We already started in Honduras last year, and we expect to advance with this training process and international certification for all our staff in Belize and Panama. And we finally, I would like to share that this year, Sustainable Harvest International has been chosen as one of the reference working on educating communities, restoring the landscapes, and fighting climate change by Love Tropics. And so we developed together a campaign using a successful model implemented in the community of Santa Marta in Belize. And we are proud to say that we are a referent, and we are also, scaling up those experiences, and we expect to continue working next year. And as I mentioned before, we are proud of what we have achieved. We love what we do, and especially we expect that with your support, with your ideas, with your collaboration, we continue scaling up our transformative model in the coming years to nourish people and conserve our planet. So for more love for the next year. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. And open to hear ideas, recommendations, and what are you doing, locally or in your countries as well in terms of regenerative agriculture and transformative, interventions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. An applause for Jennifer, and again for Flo. So for both of you, thank you so much, both of you. And as you saw, there's a lot of details there with what we're doing this year, all the years that led up to this year, We are now in this over 25 years. So of course, every year we're just getting better, improving and scaling. And we just want to keep doing that for as long as possible. And so, and thank you, Jennifer, for mentioning that. Of if you have ideas of what's working in other countries, if you know of partnerships that we can partner with, potentially government, as Flo mentioned, or any other type of agencies, please let us know, because that, of course, that helps us grow and just spread this impact. So we're going to get into questions now. I didn't see any in the chat, so I'll just check one more time. Yeah, I don't see any, I don't think, but you can, oh, we have one now. Daniel asks, do you have any examples on improving soil carbon and organic matter? So Flo, do you want to answer first, and then Jennifer can answer?
Sure, I'm sure Jennifer will have more to say, but I'll give the simple answer that I believe SHI has two core pieces to our work with the farmers. One of them is increasing biodiversity, and the other is building up soil organic carbon, or organic material in the soil. And we do that through a variety of ways. Each farmer, of course, chooses which practices he or she wants to use, but we do work with them on different types of compost, including bokashi compost, cover crops, mulches, efficient microorganisms. We've done some work with biochar at times, and so those are some of the ways that we are building up soil carbon and organic matter in the soil. And I'd say it's one of the two most important pieces of what we do. And maybe Jennifer would like to add to that.
Yeah, thank you, Flo. No, definitely. You know, all training is based again on how farmers can, adopt practices, but also how they really can, practice and include in their system. So all training includes soil management, for instance, where, as you said, as Flo mentioned, we are working with composting, but also we are working with worm fertilizer production. We are also working with liquid fertilizers and all. It's applicable, and the idea is to improve the soil health. We have good examples that we can share, from Honduras under the Promoted for Change project. I'm looking the final figures we get from our annual report, but I guess that it's more than 200 tons of organic fertilizers that we supported, 235 tons of fertilizers that have been produced, and that it was applicable to the different farms.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thanos, I'm so sorry for my name.
Yeah.
But please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know how everybody else is familiar with SHI, but I happened to run across sustainable harvest when I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Panama, and I saw exactly where the rubber meets the road, and addressing the question about soil management. I saw it firsthand, and I'm amazed how well they do, and they know how the local people.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Thanos. It's great to see you again.
Thank you, Thanos.
So thank you so much for that testimony. We love hearing your stories, and that's amazing. I myself am hoping to go very soon to our program. So yeah, visiting is the best way possible. And I will put in the chat, we have a page on our website where if you're interested in traveling to one of our programs, you can fill out a form and we'll let you know when that's available. Because of course, we just have to make sure that there's other things that we have to plan around that. So I do see some more questions in chat, so I'll just get right into those since we're almost short on time. It went by really fast. Jobs asks, do you have any preference for specific products to develop? Jennifer, do you want to take this one first and then Flo?
I'm also checking the question, but maybe you mean products in terms of activities? Maybe if I can get some clarification to the question.
I know we mentioned stoves.
Okay.
So feel free to put in chat or to unmute yourself if you want to add on to that. But yeah, I know since you mentioned stoves, is there anything else like that that you think that our farmers need?
Okay, maybe I can give a general, answer, Job, and if you have more time, of course, we continue the conversation now. I mean, we were based, on a process of diagnosis with the communities and farmers. So when we identify let's say a project, we developed a project together with communities and farmers. And a project, of course, includes a set of activities and components and products, but mainly all products are related to over 5 core impact areas, no? Agroecology, reforestation, food security, and of course training. So depending on the context, we work together with families and farmers to set up the project and activities. And if we talk about technologies and these technology peers, depend again on the needs that we identify together with farmers and families. She never said, let's use this model or let's use this technology because we believe that it will work. It totally depends on rely on the farmers' needs, no? But of course we have components that are, crucial, components, including the training, including the use of agroecological practices. All projects are based, on that reforestation. And again, so the relationship and the scope of work and the outcomes are totally, related to what farmers needs or what farmers, consider is more relevant for them. And I would like to give you an example following the Thanos, comment. The promoter for change model, for example, at the beginning, we expected, people want to work more on diversification. But in fact, promoters and families said, let's start working more on soil management. And we have a good example on how some promoters, have working on organic fertilizers, and they are organizing themselves as a network, of promoters to sell their services, but also how to work with other farmers on on organic fertilizers. So again, we contextualize projects, and our interventions are based on families and farmer needs. So, but of course, we have transformational, pieces and in areas that we include in all our, processes, if I may say that.
Thank you, Jennifer. Flo, did you have anything else to add about what specific products you want to develop?
No, I think Jennifer covered it beautifully.
Okay, great. And there was another question, and sorry if this was above the other one. My chat is, I guess, not doing it right. So Gail asks, and let me pull it up again, could you talk about your relationships with universities and other educational institutions? So Flo, for this one, I'll go for you first, and then Jennifer can fill in.
Okay. But yes, the university we've had the most relationship with probably is Earth University in Costa Rica. We've had a good relationship with them, taking members of our program staff to Earth University for training. And we've had a number of interns from Earth University do their internships with SHI. That stopped during the pandemic, but I hope it will start up again. And we've partnered with some other universities to do research on impacts of our work. And I'm hoping that we'll be doing more of that. I think that's something that Jennifer's thinking about as well. So I don't know if she'd like to add anything.
No, thank you, Flo. Definitely, Sustainable Harvest is open to work with different stakeholders and actors. No, one actor, of course, are the universities. In other cases, we are working with local schools, especially in the food security, component. But just to give you a concrete example, we're working with a technological university in Cocle, in Panama, on the assessment of the eco-stuff model and how, greenhouse emissions is being, let's say, reducing as a result of the use of those eco-stuff, no? We also have a partnership in Honduras with a local university in developing low-cost technologies. The filters, the water filters, for example, is a good, I would say, example of how we are collaborating. So the idea behind partnerships is, work at a community level and also having sustainable harvest as one of the actors in that particular ecosystem. We are also working with other areas, not only universities, but I would like to mention that we are already having collaborations with private sector. And hopefully for the next year, we want to increase, our collaboration with different stakeholders. We want to be open and also, play a more strategic role, not only working with families and farmers, but also really, being a reference, being the voice for farmers in terms of how regenerative agriculture could be a model for them, especially in terms of, income increase, environmental sustainability. We have successful example, and in case of, of any additions, of course, we can share more information about how we partner and what other partnerships we're also thinking about.
Thank you both for those great answers. So those are all the questions I see in the chat. I don't see any more hands, which is perfect timing because it's about time to close out. So I'm just going to hand it over to Kat now to give some closing remarks. Take it away, Kat.
So thank you all for taking time this evening to engage with Sustainable Harvest. We rely on your support and we appreciate your attention and also just your engagement. We do have our holiday campaign, Investing in Our Collective Future, taking place now. So we appreciate and welcome any support. And we wish you all very happy holidays. Thank you so much for attending and for your attention.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.
Oh yeah, also you can sign up to our email list if you want to hear about future events. I forgot to add that little tidbit, but do sign up for our email list. We will continue to do these events and are excited to share more about the happenings of Sustainable Harvest. So thank you.